I know. I know.
It's not even fun.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? For First We Feast, I'm Sean Evans. You're watching Hot Ones, and today we deliver you a very special episode brought to you by Tums, because even legends need relief, and I'm thrilled to be joined in the studio by the legend himself, Tim Howard. Nicknamed the Secretary of Defense, he's the most capped goalkeeper in U.S. men's national team history, 13 seasons in the Premier League, and a tournament record 16 saves in a single match against Belgium in 2014. But will he walk away with a clean sheet against the world's spiciest wings? Only time will tell. Tim Howard, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I think, thank you. I'm not sure what we're doing today, but we're going to find out.
What's going through your head as you prepare to take on these wings? Are you naturally a fan of spicy food?
Naturally, no. So, little background, if we went out and we had wings and you ordered medium, I'd say, no, let's get mild. So this is going to be a whole lot of rock and roll today. But here we are. Okay. This is easy for you.
The first one. But I'm no hero. It gets challenging as it goes.
So we're just a few weeks away from the big tournament, and some have labeled this year's U.S. men's national team as the golden generation. Does that add unnecessary pressure, or does it feel accurate given the talent level on this roster?
Massive pressure. A lot of teams don't live up to that hype. A lot of teams that get labeled their golden generation, it's hard because in that moment you have to win, you have to succeed. They've been named the golden generation. I think in the last year or so, people have sort of said maybe they're not, but they're super talented. This generation of players plays at bigger clubs than previous generations, and a lot more players are playing at those clubs. So now they just have to go figure out how to win something big.
And then every tournament has a player who comes out of nowhere and becomes a household name. Is there anyone on this U.S. men's national team roster you think we should be paying more attention to going into it?
Yeah, that's a great question. The ones that that kind of jump off the page we already know about: Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams. I think Chris Richards, which is weird to say because he plays at Crystal Palace every week in the Premier League. He's an out-and-out starter, captain of the team. I think he has another level because I think he's got a bit of devilment in him. He's a good defender, already has that sort of foundation. But now if you do it on the world stage, as you just asked, that can take you to new heights. Yeah, we're going for it. I just read Homegrown Hell, which I'm not looking forward to.
You know, it's dangerous when guests start reading ahead.
I know, it's hard not to. Lord.
I understand. You received the news that you'd made the National Soccer Hall of Fame while live on air with NBC Sports. What's it like to get information like that when you're literally on TV?
Strange, which I think that's why they wanted. They wanted that shock and awe element. In that moment, you're like, sort of, there's this fast forward video of like, all of the things you've done and all the people that got you there, and you're on live TV, so you're trying to figure out how to formulate thoughts. Really cool and special, and I do think that those type of moments are deserving of monumental sort of announcements, and it felt good to sort of be around my NBC family, share that with the people at home too, so it's cool.
How do you think the sport has changed or evolved the most, comparing the games that you played in during your career versus the ones that you now watch and analyze as a broadcaster?
You can't do the same thing over and over tactically for 100 years. Someone has to change it. And so the game changes slightly from a tactical element, different formations get brought in. Pep Guardiola at Man City will change a position and create a clever name for it, and then everyone picks up on it. But ultimately, the game doesn't change. The game, for me, doesn't change. You have to be combative. You have to be tough. So ultimately, there are ideas around the game that I think change, but the crux of the game never changes.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what's interesting. Like, I'll interview Steph Curry, you know, and like his style of play of like shooting threes, like just in front of the half court logo, you know, like that can change things. Or like now you'll see in AAU a lot of like Euro stepping, you know. But I think you're saying that football is just different from basketball, or different from baseball, different from.
Yeah, in a sense, right? Like if you were to look at basketball, for example, and Steph Curry sort of extending where players think they can shoot from, or the Euro step, all these different little elements that come into the game. But if you were to ask someone like, how do you win a championship? Like if you were to ask LeBron James how to win a championship, it would have nothing to do with Euro steps or deep threes. It would all come back down to the basics of the game. So that's sort of kind of how I analyze soccer as well. You enjoyed this, huh?
I do. It's masochistic in that way.
How did you get? How do you get to enjoying hot stuff?
You know what? I think it's like cardio. And then if you step away from it, I think it's hard to build up that tolerance again. So I think it's just in the rhythm of natural practice.
But I'm not going to be doing this after this, so there's no practice.
Can you take me inside the psychology of a penalty shootout? You know, it remains one of the most dramatic, high-stakes situations in all of sports.
I love it. These guys out in the outfield have run, at this point, after 120 minutes, probably like 15K. 17K. Like, they're done. They're out on their feet. Mentally, you're exhausted. So, like, let's get the game over with. And I'm a fan of that. So I like the penalty shootouts. You can only ever be a hero. Like, as a goalkeeper, you're not supposed to make any saves. The chips are stacked against you. So I always thought, this is great. If I make one save here, I'm a hero. And I think I'm good enough to do that. If you can get two, you're probably going to win. So I sort of like the mental challenge as well. And sort of that one-on-one, there's a long 50-yard walk up. You're staring at the shooter. You're kind of figuring out whether you know where he's going or you're sort of hinting to him that you know. It's just a mind game. I love it.
And then finally, maybe something doesn't come to mind, but I am curious, does anything stand out as like the most bewildering intimidation tactic someone has ever tried in the moments leading up to a penalty kick?
Not really, because here's the thing about penalty shootouts. The goalkeeper is always going to try and do something radical. The shooter just wants to be in rhythm because he wants to walk up, take the ball, put it down, back up, pick his spot and go. He wants nothing to break that rhythm. So you want to sort of do things to make the referee get involved. You want the referee to say, "Hey, stand still," because it's like a field goal kicker. The more they think about it, the worse it is for them. That makes sense. So the more time that I can take while they're standing over the penalty,
the walls close in.
Yeah, I think so.
So up next is the smoke and drag.
I bet it is. I absolutely bet it is.
And this is a little bit of a step.
Oh, okay. You didn't warn me about that.
So your nickname at Everton, Secretary of Defense, it's one of the greatest nicknames in the history of sports. Do you remember any sort of welcome to Merseyside moment when you transferred there from Manchester United? Like, it does seem to be like a very singular and intense football culture over there.
Yeah, the city of Liverpool in and of itself stands out. They're fanatical, they're crazy, they think the world is against them, they think all of England is against them, and they sort of have this rallying cry together, even though both sides sort of hate each other. Not one moment. I don't remember like a single moment. I just remember coming from Manchester United, which is like the biggest club in the world, to Everton, and Everton just felt like it fit. I was a kid from Jersey, and I was like, this is sort of like my club, my people. They're a very demanding group of fans, but if you run your socks off and you fight like a dog,
they love you.
They're gonna love you. For me, that was like a big turning point in my career, and then I spent 10 years there.
What does it mean to have your own chant in the Premier League?
I feel like that, getting on a video game is cool, and then being in the stadium and having people chant your name or something about you. It's sort of the culture. We don't have that in America. It's special, and I always tell, so individually, they chant your name, which is cool. But I think the fanaticism, the game is important. I've been in games where our team travels, or you see it with away teams. They travel. They spend a lot of money to go into Europe or certain places in the country and travel to see you, and you lay an egg and you stink, and you're getting beat 4-0. And instead of leaving, the shirts come off and the beers are flying and the chants are going, and it sort of becomes a game in and of itself. And they're basically saying, we came here to be entertained. We're not being entertained, so it's our turn to take over. And so there's this togetherness with the fans and the club and the players. So yeah, it's fun.
In your autobiography, you have an interesting passage about how your coach had to convince you to play goalkeeper. You compared it to standing in the outfield in T-ball. What are the hallmarks of a good goalie prospect? Like, it does seem like a position that requires some recruitment, some indoctrination, since not everyone gets a chance at it.
I didn't want to play goalkeeper. I wanted to have fun and run around and slide and do all the things.
Score goals.
Score goals. I was a big kid. I was tall. They had all my soccer, my youth soccer pictures. I'm like this tall. I'm like, and then my coach is the same height, you know? And so the tall kid goes in goal. I was always on teams that were good, and my coaches sort of make deals with me. Play in the goal in the first half, and then we'll probably be winning, so and come out in the second half and play striker or something. So I did. And then the further along the way that you go, you just get this positive reinforcement, and kids like that, you know, like, hey, you did a great job today. Your teammates are high-fiving. You're like, okay, well, I guess I like playing in goal. But I think from the attribute standpoint, as a youngster, it's like tall, athletic, brave, you know, someone who sort of semi wants to be in goal. Like when my daughter started playing, they did this little rotational thing when they were like 7 years old, where every kid had to play every position. And she put the gloves on. It was her turn, and she started crying. I was like, oh, thank goodness. That's my girl. Just cry, get out of goal, don't go anywhere near it. But I think that you have to have kids who are willing to want to be in goal. Otherwise, it's just a disaster.
All right, Tim, we've made it halfway through the gauntlet, and I think it's time for a little halftime heartburn relief. Bill, bring in the Tums Chewy Bites Tropical Fruit Smoothie. Heartburn relief incoming. Thank you so much, Bill.
You're welcome.
You know, after all these years of being a chicken wing talk show host, I still to this day could use a little relief. You know what? I'm actually already starting to feel the heat, so I'm gonna take a Tums now.
I think I'll join you.
I'm ready.
Good. I'm going to hell. Here we go.
That's where it gets serious.
I think we'll drink milk for this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna join you at that party. If you could relive one game from your career as a semi-regular, reoccurring dream, which one would it be and why?
I do, but the Belgium game every night. Every night before I go to bed, I watch it. No, it was sort of my signature moment, but like whether it was for me or not, for the fans, people come up to me and talk about Everton, and they talk about if they're a United fan, Manchester United fan, or whatever, but 99% of the time, people are talking about the Belgium game. And I think for an athlete in hindsight, it's like, it's cool. It's really cool to have a shining moment that people
It's imprinted in culture, yeah.
Yeah, and the stories are usually like, I was in a bar with my best friend and we were going crazy. And then so they bring you back to this time and moment that's special. So that's the one.
When you reflect on that game, do you feel like you were in any sort of flow state? Did the game unfold in front of you in a unique way? Like, how, if at all, was it different from the other ones?
It was different because I'm 47 years old, born in 1979, right? I came up as a child idolizing Michael Jordan, like every kid in America. And there was a point in time, early 90s, where Michael Jordan sat down for an interview and he had done something spectacular. They asked him about it. And it was the first time in sports history that we heard about a player being in the zone. He coined that phrase. And so psychologists and everybody thought, what's the zone? What does that feel like? And I talk about that day, having heard about what being in the zone was like. I remember sort of the smells and the sounds, and we were playing Belgium, they were wearing red. And so I can remember sort of blurry moments, but I was so locked in that I don't remember a lot of the game. I don't remember visually a lot of the game like I do other games. It was sort of going warp speed, but almost underwater, if that makes sense. And
Neo picking bullets out of the air.
Totally. And so for me, that was sort of how it was, the breakdown of it. But kind of cool to go back and watch.
There's just something about that deep pepper flavor.
Yeah, don't like it.
I'd imagine when you lose an elimination game, that it has this sort of like emotional vacuum that takes over. How would you describe what a locker room looks and sounds like in that
After
moment?
a big loss, elimination, quiet, disbelief. You're dealing with winners who won another shot. So you're conditioned to win, and then when you don't win, you're conditioned to go, all right, let's go again. And when you get eliminated or you're going home, you're looking for that, but it's not coming. And so it's a sort of disbelief, and it feels different than anything else you've done. And it's an epic failure. it sort of smacks you in the face. A bit like Funky Nirvana. Jesus.
So this is the bomb beyond insanity.
Holy heck. All right. Wow. Jesus.
I know. I know.
It's not even fun.
So while you battled the bomb, what I'm gonna do is give you some US men's national team superlatives. So I'll make a declarative statement, and then you tell me which player, past or present, best fits that description.
If I can.
Which player would you trust most to take a penalty with everything on the line?
Landon Donovan. Wow, Jesus. My guy Landon. Yeah.
Who's most likely to give an inspiring halftime speech during halftime?
Michael Bradley.
Who's the most natural leader?
Carlos Bocanegra. He was a captain for a while.
Who had the best relationship with fans?
Clint Dempsey, I think, because they loved him. He could do no wrong.
Which player is most likely to show up to the charter with the most expensive luggage?
Josie Altidore. Oh, wow. You need tissues. Gone. Completely gone.
At times like these. And then just be careful around the
Yeah,
eyes.
no, that's fine. Fine, it was his hand. It was his hand. It's hot. Jesus. I'm sweating from everywhere.
I know.
It's amazing.
You and I both, we got the right kind of haircut for this, yeah.
Yeah. What you were saying?
I was just throwing superlatives at you,
Yeah,
but you
keep
know,
going.
you did body that.
I guess.
Who's most likely to miss the team bus because they're still getting ready, fixing their hair?
DeMarcus Beasley. Not his hair, just most likely.
How we feeling?
Horrific, mate. Absolutely horrific. We're good. We're good.
The good news is that was the worst one.
I don't think so.
You know, next to not a walk in the park, but you looked a formidable opponent in the face.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But people get like orders of that and go, yeah, put the bomb sauce on there.
There's some people that need that. They need that to feel alive.
That's wild. Okay.
But we're almost to the finish line.
Sure.
If you're ready. This next one is a Squash Reaper X.
Good gosh. All right. You doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I find with athletes, there's always like a little bit of a competitive streak that kicks in, you know, like a one more rep, one more wing.
Damn, I lost that competitive streak. I think the bomb knocked that competitive streak out of me. Ah, Jesus.
What's the code of honor regarding a keeper scoring a goal? You know, I've heard you describe your famous one against Bolton. You described it as cruel.
Yeah, I was too nice. Naturally, it's terrible. Goalkeeper gets scored on. You've done something wrong. Like, that's terrible. I didn't want to celebrate that in his face. But like now that I'm like older and wiser and like more ornery, like if I scored again, my shirt's coming off. I'm like in the stands, you know. I tried to have a little bit of respect, but not if it happened again, I wouldn't.
All right.
No, I've seen you do this. No way. I need more milk, by the way. Time. 20-second time up. I need more milk. No chance of putting it on there. Did you put it on there?
You know what? We don't have to.
I mean, I'm not.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't do it just for yourself.
You know, I don't want to show. You know, I don't want to. I feel like I'm showing off. Over
Yeah.
here
Don't
doing
show
that.
off. All right, this is last guy.
Last guy. And with that, Tim Howard, the wings of death are behind us.
Oh.
You have conquered the Hot Ones gauntlet. And I want to close things out
Wow.
with some rapid fire predictions for the tournament coming up in the next few weeks. I know your brain, your mouth are
All I
on
heard
fire.
was fire. That's all I
Not
heard.
going to be easy with the heat of 1,000 suns coursing through you.
Wow.
Which team is your pick for a Cinderella story?
I think one of the really small, and I don't know which one, but one of the really small nations, because the tournament's expanded now. So you're going to get teams who had never been in a tournament, who should probably never be anywhere near it, but they're going to be in it. And you're probably going to get an upset. I don't know if they'll get out of the first round, maybe, but they'll get an
A
upset.
shock the world moment.
Yeah, and if they do that, and like they get out of the group as like the third place team, That's like one of the biggest things in the footballing. So, like Congo, maybe. Like you look at a Congo and think they could be one of the teams.
Which host city do you imagine will have the most raucous game environment?
I still think New York. New York just brings the world to them, always.
And finally, who do you think is going to be hoisting that trophy on July 19th?
I think it's gonna be Spain. That's my champion.
And there it is, Tim Howard taking on the Wings of Death,
Let's go.
living to tell the tale.
Let's go.
Before we roll out the red carpet, a very special shout out to Tums for making this all possible. And with that said, Tim Howard, this camera, this camera, this camera, let the people know what you have going on in your life.
What do I have going on? Everything. NBC Sports Premier League, Unfiltered Soccer Podcast with Landon Donovan. We are crushing it, all things soccer. Just being dad to 2 crazy college kids, and that's it. It's good. Life is good. Amazing. Wow.
My God, great job. Great job.
That's
Great
fun.
job.
It wasn't fun. It was okay. Horrific, mate.
Absolutely horrific.